G'day and welcome back to RC Model Reviews, a tale of two box cameras today. We've got the Runcam 3 on the left and we've got the Foxeer Box 4K on the right. And this video I'm going to try and talk about the differences and the strengths and weaknesses of each camera. Now, first of all, the Runcam 3 is pretty much physically identical to the GoPro Session, which is good. Why is that good? Because you can use it in GoPro Session type mounts. Let me just move this out of the way a bit. Here we go, GoPro Session type mount. Runcam 3 just fits straight in here. Excuse me while I do this out of shot because it's easier. Here we go. See that? Done. Nice tight fit. I've got it in upside on the side, but it doesn't matter. You can see it fits in there quite nicely. No problems at all. So that means that you buy a mini quad with a GoPro Session mount, you can use your Runcam 3 in that mount. Brilliant. Foxeer Box. Here we go. And whoop, that ain't going to work. It's just, no, it's not going to fit. And why is that? Well, let's do a little bit of a closer look between these cameras. If you look very carefully, let's turn them around so the back side on. You can see that the Foxeer is actually quite a bit bigger. You know, just small increments, but it is bigger than the Runcam. If we put these side by side like that, I'll get my camera lower, but you can see that it's wider, higher, and it's also deeper. It's also deeper than the Runcam 3, so it's not going to fit your regular mount designed for a GoPro Session, and that's just one of the negatives. And it can be a big one or it can be a small one depending on how you look at it. If you're buying off the shelf quadcopters then and you're using the mounts that come with them, then it's going to be a negative. But if you've got a 3D printer or you want to fork out some money for a separate mount, that's fine. It doesn't make a hell of a lot of difference. Now, of course, the box does come with its own mount, and it is, but it's not one you'd probably want to use. It's one of these ones with a clip-on base, and if you're going to use that on a mini quad, first crash, it's toast. So it's not something that you would really use practically. You'd use it on a camera drone perhaps, but certainly not on a mini quad or even on a fixed wing because it's just too fragile. So that's one difference between the two cameras. Well, it's two. It's the size and the availability of mounts. Right. But there are other differences as well. Obviously, this is, I think about $90 or something, $99. And this is $160 or $170. So there's a big difference in price between these two cameras. And as you might expect, that difference in price means different in function, difference in performance. Now, the Runcam is a 1080p 60 frames per second camera, and it performs very well. I've used the Runcam 3 a lot. I like it. It's not the best camera on the market, but value-wise, it's pretty hard to beat. I mean, a GoPro Session will give a much better picture than the Runcam 3. Let me try and get a little focus. It's all getting a bit blurry on me here. Yeah, the Runcam 3 gives a pretty good picture, but it is not as good as a GoPro Session, I don't think. One of the big weaknesses, I think, of this camera is that in low light conditions, and even in medium light conditions, if you're running 60 frames a second, it's a bit grainy. It's like the sensor is starving for light. So you get a bit of noise on the image. And you can see that if you're trying to, it doesn't always show up on YouTube because the YouTube compression tends to sort of smooth that out. But and you're looking at the raw footage, there is a bit of grain to it on 60 frames 1080 with the Runcam 3. By comparison, the Foxeer is much cleaner. It's a much less noisy picture. And that makes a better quality picture. I mean, you know, you're paying nearly twice as much. You expect something better. And also this does 4K. This is only 1080p 60. This does 4K at, I think, 30 or 25 frames. And it also does 1080p at the normal sort of setup. So it's got more shooting modes. And also it does something that's going to be really important for anyone that flies mini quads, the Super View. And if you don't know what Super View is, you haven't been flying mini quads long. Super View is GoPro brought it out with their cameras initially. And it's a way it changes the aspect ratio. It uses the whole sensor of the camera. And once you put that into a 16:9 format, it makes things look much faster. All those really ace mini quad flies you see flying at breakneck speed, it's usually filmed in Super View. And if you do the same thing and film it with your Runcam 3, you won't look nearly so fast because it doesn't have Super View. And I did some comparative shooting between Super View and ordinary footage. And yes, Super View makes things look faster. It makes you look like a better pilot. That's really what happens if you're going fast. So it's nice to have Super View if you want to film mini quads flying close to the ground really fast. It's not essential. I mean, I've been filming most of all my mini quad stuff with the Runcam 3, and I like what comes out. But having that super view there if you want it is quite a selling feature for the mini quad flyers. Not important for the fixed wing flyers because they probably never use it, but for mini quad flyers, yeah, it's a big bonus. It's a selling point, but you're paying twice as much. Remember that, you're paying twice as much. Now both these cameras are configurable with an app on your smartphone. Now I've got an old smartphone, it was an old Samsung, and it wouldn't run the app for the Foxeer. It would run the Runcam 3 app, but it wouldn't run the Foxeer app. So I had to go out and buy a new smartphone just to run the app so I could set my Foxeer Box up. And of course, it's a pretty simple operation. It works okay, no real issues. You know, it's pretty standard for these things. And now I've got my smartphone, I can change this in the field, but I kind of like the fact that with the Runcam 3, if you've got it as your FPV source, you can also change your settings without a smartphone, just using your goggles. It's kind of nice. I don't think the Foxeer does that. Now the Runcam 3 is quite light. Let's do the weight comparisons because it's really important on something as weight conscious as a racing drone. And here we have the scales that don't show the blood. And let's look at the Runcam first. It is fully charged at 68 grams. Compare it to the Box. I'd expect this to weigh more because it's bigger and it's got more in it. Indeed it does. It weighs an extra 5 or 6 grams. It's not really a lot, is it? There's not a lot in it. So yeah, it's heavier, but not by much. And so weight probably isn't going to be a factor. Now, given that it's rather difficult to put 2 session form factor cameras on a mini quad and still have it fly reasonably well, not that I can fly reasonably well anyway, but I decided that I would put the Runcam Split on a quad and use the Foxeer Box 4K on the same quad and get some comparative footage. Because remember, the Runcam Split is really a Runcam 3 with the board separated out and the sensor element on a lead, so it fits nicely in a mini quad. So the footage you're seeing now is the 2 different cameras under very trying light conditions. The sun was very low, there were a lot of shadows, so it really tested out the wide dynamic range. And as you can see, the 2 cameras are both pretty damn good. Now the points that I really noticed with this particular comparison was that the Runcam 3 seems to probably have a better wide dynamic range. When it's got really varying color, varying brightness levels, the Runcam still pulls that detail out of the darkness compared to the 4K Foxeer Box. But the optics on certainly on the Split version of the Runcam are really not up to the task compared to the Foxeer Box. The Box has got much better optics. There's far less lens flare, there's far less glare. It really does cope with that really bright lighting situation much better. It doesn't wash out the screen. It's really good. Now either camera is pretty damn good, but if I wanted to get some really good quality footage, obviously I would pay them more money and get the Box, because not only do I get that better light handling, the better optics, but I get the choice of the 2.7, the 2.6, and the 4K resolutions, which are really great if you want some high definition stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line, if we look at these 2 cameras, is that they're both pretty damn good. I mean, if you bought either of them, you wouldn't really be too upset, I don't think. And the Runcam 3 is really cheap. It's a really low cost camera, so you don't expect it to be as good as the Foxeer Box. But having said that, the Box is still quite a bit, here in New Zealand anyway, it's still quite a bit cheaper than a GoPro Session. And it does offer the Super View, it does offer the 4K, and I think it looks pretty robust. The fact that you can take this front panel off with screws and replace the glass is probably quite good. With the Runcam, it's actually held on with an adhesive, and it's a little bit more difficult, a little messier to actually change the front glass if you have to, but hopefully you don't have to. They both seem to be built very solidly. They should take the knocks and bangs that are typical with certainly mini quad flying, unless you plow head on into a concrete wall, in which case nothing survives, not even a GoPro Session. And they both have internal batteries which are not replaceable, which is a downside to both of them. So you have to have reasonably good battery life in my experience. The Runcam 3 has a better battery life than the Foxeer Box, probably because this is doing a snotload more work because it can do 4K, so there's a lot more electricity being consumed by this one, so the battery will not last as long. So if you are planning on long days flying, you want to get every flight on there, you better take a power bank and do some charging, because like the Runcam, it recharges through a USB connector, which if I can find out which way to take this off, there we go. There's all your connections in there. You've got your micro USB card, you've got your USB connection. I think that's a mini micro HDMI in there as well, not too sure. But I like this cover. This cover's really good. Now this is supposed to be splash proof or water resistant or something. So it's not waterproof, but if you fly in the rain, it's not going to hurt it. I flew in the rain with my Runcam 3 and the lens fogged up. So this is much less water resistant than that. So if you're going to be flying in fog or rain or drizzle, this is your camera of choice. That one, you'll have to spend a day drying it out because the water gets into the front there and it goes all misty. And yeah, apart from that, you know, the two versions of the same thing, there's pros and cons for each. It depends on what you want to do as to which one you should spend your hard-earned money on. But for me, if I was spending my own hard-earned money, if I was really poor, I would buy the Runcam 3 and be extremely happy. If I had a little more money, I would buy the Foxeer Box and I'd be extremely happy. And if I had even more money, I'd just buy both of them because they have their own niches. I use this in my beta quad. I don't care if I fly this into a concrete post at the breakneck speeds I fly, you know, 20, 30 miles an hour, and destroy it totally because it's cheap. I'd buy another one. I'd be a little bit more worried about breaking this because it's nearly twice the price. But if I really want to get the best footage that looks really cool with Super View, yeah, of course I'm going to use this because it just has those extra features. So it's not often I say, get them both, but in this case I'd say get them both. Get them both if you can, but if you can only buy one and you can afford it, get the box. If you can only buy one and you can't afford it, get the Runcam. They're both good cameras. They both work as advertised. So yeah, buy them both. Buy them both now. Don't wait. I'll put some links to the product pages for these cameras in the description. I'm not sure of the status of the Runcam 3. Is it still for sale? I don't know. I haven't actually checked. I've seen it on Banggood. Runcam, I don't think they sell it into the USA or something, so maybe if you're in America you may only be able to buy this one. Why? Well, I mean, they're both cube cameras. The fact that the Runcam's got a button on the top, really should that matter? I don't know. Maybe it's because it is a perfect fit for the GoPro Session mounts that they also got told they can't sell it. I don't know. You tell me. But in the meantime, yeah, two really good cameras. Now, if you want to see some really good, I'm not going to go through the process that all the other reviewers have gone through of filming in every mode and showing you comparisons with whatever. That's already out there. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm not going to waste your time doing that. But I will put some links in the description of this video to other reviewers who have done a really good job of showing you how the box camera works compared to other options on the market and how the Runcam works compared to other options on the market. In fact, RCSchim, Mario at RCSchim, he does a really good job reviewing cameras. I recommend you always look at his camera reviews because he does a lot of comparisons side by side. Really, really good. Go and subscribe to his channel. It's worth it. He's a really dedicated reviewer of products in the hobby and he deserves more traffic. So go and subscribe to his channel now, I tell you. And in the meantime, thank you for watching this. If there's something you want me to have a look at with these cameras, then please say so. I'll do it in a follow-up video. In the meantime, go and buy them both. Enjoy your flying. It's summer here soon and I will enjoy my flying. And just a footnote to this video, you'll notice, no matter how long my videos are, there's only ever one advertisement at the beginning. I don't put ads every 5 seconds through the video like an increasing number of YouTube content producers are doing now. Why are they doing that? Well, it's because YouTube, it's hard to make a living from YouTube now. The ad revenue is spread over so many different channels and the ad rates are generally getting lower and lower and videos are being demonetized at whim of YouTube. So a lot of content producers are finding it really hard to pay the bills. So they put ads all the way through their videos, hoping that it'll double or triple or quadruple the income from a video. Well, I'm a bit different. I'm lucky enough to have some really good Patreon supporters who make up the shortfall from what YouTube used to deliver to what it delivers now. So the reason you only see one ad on these videos is thanks to those Patreon supporters. So give them a big thumbs up. Give them a big thanks because they make these videos more enjoyable for you. There you go. Thanks for watching. See you later.